I want to go through everything that happened that night, and I hope that you hear everything I have to say with an open heart. It was a Saturday night, just like any other Saturday. I was, despite the state I was in that night, just going through some stuff, and I'm just gonna go through basically the start of the home invasion until the end. And so I was on a phone call with my mom for a while around 9 p.m. I ended up hanging up with her around 9:30. I jumped on a phone call with one of my best friends. I was deciding that night to get ready for bed earlier than usual. Usually my bedtime is around midnight. Sometimes I even start winding down around midnight. But this particular Saturday, I thought, I'm just gonna settle down about 9:45, 10. I wasn't ready to lay in bed, but I decided to walk over to the thermostat, which is right there, to just adjust the temperature for the night, and all of a sudden started hearing someone trying to just walk in to my room. Like, they grabbed the knob and turned it to come in. Obviously it was locked. So they realized that, and they started vigorously trying to open the door, as if it was just gonna unlock. Anybody from the outside would think that my door to my room is the front door to the house, the main entrance. And so I was all the way in the back with that thing. There was no knock. There was no, which I had a millisecond to think, these are definitely kids. It's a Saturday night. They're playing a prank. Maybe it was, there's a young kid that lives, a teenager that lives near me, and I was thinking, oh, maybe it was him and his friends just trying to mess with me because they know I live here. But it just continued, and it was intense. Like, they were really trying to come in. They were desperate to come in. And so it was still early. It was 10 p.m. I had not put down the shade in my room to that door. There's a shade that covers it because they're French doors. So I had the lights on in the room. My shade was completely up, and I don't know if all French doors are this way, but in particular, these windows that I have, during the day, you can see out and they can't see in, but at night, if you have lights on and the shade is up, they can see in, but you can't see out. They just continue to try coming in through turning that knob, and I snapped. It took me 2 seconds to realize this is not a joke. This is real. Someone's trying to come in here. I don't know who it is. I can't see who it is. They can see me. And I'm just staring at the door next to the thermostat, looking straight ahead. They can see me. I cannot see them. I'm still on the phone with my friend. I froze for a couple seconds, and I thought, I need to say something. I started to yell, the cops are on their way. I am calling 911 right now. And they just didn't listen. They could hear me, because I've lived here long enough to know that whatever sounds like are happening inside this room, they can be heard from the other side of the door. I already knew that. And I was yelling at the top of my lungs. And that didn't do it. I thought it would. They proceeded to try to come in And I didn't know if they had equipment. I didn't know if these were experienced like criminals that they knew how to bust through bulletproof windows. It sounded like they had equipment, and they just started to try breaking through the windows. And I looked at the door and I thought, it's gonna be really hard for them to get in because these windows are bulletproof. So I have time to think right now and run or figure something out. They just continue to work at it. I at one point I thought to myself, and this is all happening in the span of just maybe a few seconds. I thought to myself, okay, they're not going to give up. They're going to get in here. They're persistent. They're going to break through this door. And if the glass doesn't break, the door is going to fall off the hinges because the impact was so intense. So I made the decision to, in that split second, there's another door near the main entrance that leads to the kitchen and living room area. So if I'm currently facing the front door, I was trying to make a run to the right, which would be right next to the main entrance. And so I just made a run for it. And as they continue to break through the windows, and I ran, I hung up on my friend and I dialed 911, and it almost felt like forever. I was so mad at myself. I was trying to dial 911 and I was shaking and I was trying to just gather myself. And so I immediately went into my roommate's room, which is in the other side of the house, in the back of the house. I went through the kitchen, the living area, got in the room, closed it behind me, locked it, and I called 911. Dispatch answered, and I remember being able to explain what was happening pretty clearly, and trying not to lose it. And I was explaining to the dispatch that there are men. It seems like there's more than one person. There are men trying to break in. I don't know if they have already. There's a lot of ruckus, a lot of noise going on. I don't know whether they're inside or not. I was telling her, just please send help. Like, send help as quick as you can. And all I remember is I was just hearing so much noise. I didn't know whether they were still working on my door, whether they got in and they were in my room, just going through things. I didn't know what was going on. This house is a really beautiful house, by the way, but there's just a bunch of French doors and ceiling to floor windows all around the house. So it's really beautiful how the sun comes in the mornings. I remember seeing shadows running around the house, and in my mind I was saying, I think I mentioned to dispatch, there's bits and pieces of that call that I don't remember. I either thought it or I said it, but I was like, they're so desperate to get in here. I don't know what they want. I don't know what they want, but they're like so persistent to get inside of this house. And it was almost like I was in a conflict with myself. I was like, they do, but they're not. And then there's a part of me that was like, no, they are. Because they're not going to give up. They're going to continue to find ways, and it's more than one person. They're going to figure out how to get in. And so just trying to talk me through it. I remember she's a really sweet lady and trying to tell me that she's doing everything that she can to get help as quick as possible. And a couple minutes went by, and I'm pacing around the room. I am trying to calm my roommate down. She has no idea what's going on. My roommate's 95 years old. She didn't have her hearing aid on. She didn't understand what was going on. She was just sitting up in her bed, confused. And I just kept seeing shadows and lights and flashlights and just ruckus. And I was just, every time I saw a shadow, I flinched, and I was yelling at the dispatch, "They're here, I see them, they're around the house. I don't know if they are able to get in my room or in the kitchen. I don't know, I can't make out the sounds." I remember parts of the phone call I was whispering, and then on certain parts I was yelling, and I got angry, and then I got emotional, like helpless, like crying, like distraught, and then I got angry again, because I was just coming back to my senses every minute or so, asking her, "Are they here? Did you send help? They're gonna come in and they're gonna kill me. I need help. They need to come right now." And I remember maybe a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes into the call, she said, "There is something going on in your area right now, where there's a lot of cops and a lot of people tending to that situation." And she said, "It seems to be the same one. It seems to be correlated. I think that the guys that they're looking for are at your house now." And I said, "Yes, they are. They are, and you need to send them here. You need to tell them that, and they need to come right now." And she said, they're gonna come, I promise. They're gonna accept this request, and they're gonna come over. They're gonna come as soon as they can." And in the meantime, I was pacing, I was freaking out. I saw flashing lights outside, and the lights started to become more frequent, and just, it seemed more lit, like more than just a flashlight. And I thought in my head, what could this be? It's them. And I thought, I think it's a helicopter. So I decided, a few minutes went by, I continued to get more helpless or hopeless as time went on. I was like, it's felt like an eternity. It's been 8 minutes and no one's here to help. And I hear ruckus, I hear things going on in the garage, I hear things going on around the house. I don't know what's gonna happen. I had no idea. All I knew is, like, I have to think about the next thing. I think dispatch, she was kind of quiet, on and off. Sounded like she was talking but not saying anything. So I was just in my head, what's the next thing I can do? What's the next precaution I can take? And I decided to put my roommate, she can't really walk, so I put her in her, she has a walker that I rolled her in to the bathroom. And I decided to go in the bathroom with her, and we don't have regular doors. We have wooden sliding doors, and the locks aren't installed. So that was already something. I thought, well, this is the only room, smaller room, that I can go into. Maybe just, it'll save me an extra couple minutes. If they come in the room, they'll have to look for me and go in the bathroom. And I thought to myself, I'm not just gonna let them. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna fight. And so I closed the door behind me. I told dispatch, I'm in the bathroom. And she said, put your back against the door. And I thought to myself, okay, this is a sliding door. I don't even think that's gonna work. There's no lock on this door either. And so I was thinking, how can I barricade myself? What can I do? I saw a couple things, like stools and things. I mean, the bathroom doesn't have much. And so I put things against it, and I just put my back against it, and I sat on the floor. My roommate was confused. She was sitting on her walker near the shower and just looking at me, because she knew I was on the phone and trying to take care of something. But I feel like maybe about 10 to 12 minutes had passed already, 13. I'm still hearing noises. I'm completely convinced that they're inside the house. And I keep telling dispatch, they're inside the house. They're in the house. And I don't know if they're gonna come in here. I don't know how much time I have. And I don't have any weapons on me. I don't have anything that I can use. I mean, I had things within my reach that I didn't know I was even gonna use at that point, but I just slid down the door and I sat on the floor, and it was like almost a moment of my life flashing before my eyes. And I thought to myself, like, I don't know what these guys are here for. I don't know if they want to hurt me. Maybe they don't, but I don't really know. And so I thought, God has been so good to me. He really has. Even till this point, the fact that even though I was the most scared I've ever been, I was fine. I was okay. Like, I was I was trying to make sense of what was going on and like trying to stay positive. I'm okay. I'm in the bathroom. I'm safe. I'll be fine. And then I was still on the phone with dispatch and I was telling her, I just hear so much going on. Have you sent help? It's been a minute now. It's been a while. And she said, yeah, they're on their way. They're on their way. They're gonna come for you. They're gonna get you. Don't worry. They're coming for you. And I decided, if I don't make it tonight, I should probably text people that I love. And I decided to text my mom first. I actually skipped that part. I actually had been in touch with my mom and my brother earlier on the 911 call. I couldn't really talk to them. They were calling me over and over and over again, trying to get a hold of me, but I was busy with the 911 dispatcher. And so I just decided, not that I'm giving up. I was kind of losing hope. It was hard for me to come to terms with that bit, but I was like, I'm going to text my mom that I love her. I'm going to text my brother that I love him. I'm going to text my dad that I love him. I'm going to text my sister that I love her. And that's exactly what I did. Like, I gathered myself for like a minute to do that. Maybe a few minutes later, I hear noises and the dispatch says, that's not them, that's SWAT. And I thought to myself, okay, that's them, are you sure? And she said, yeah, that's them, they're there for you. And I got a phone call from an unknown number, and I just hung up on the dispatch. I was like, okay, bye girl, thank you. And I answered, and it was a man, a gentleman. He was super nice, and he was like, hey, we're here, we're at the door, and I told him, I was like, listen, I don't know if they're in this house. What if they're in here? I don't know. And I was still, distraught and just very like scared. And I was like, they could be in here. Like, I know you guys are here outside, but I don't know if they're in the house, and you guys need to come in as soon as possible. And he said, okay, we're forcing entry. We're gonna get in there. Don't worry, you're fine. You're doing a good job. I remember that so well. Like, he was just so encouraging and like almost like, yeah, like I'm here for you. I heard them trying to force entry. I knew that was them because it was pretty loud. And he was saying, man, this door is tough. And I thought to myself, I'm like, yeah, pretty much is. And he said, we got a key. We're coming in. I don't know where he got that key from. I was thinking, okay, my landlord's had to run outside with the key or something. So they come in, and I'm in this state of like, that is them. And there's a part of me that's telling me, don't leave this restroom. If you leave this restroom, they're probably in the room. They're probably going to get you. And at that moment, I thought, yeah, but even if they're in here, what are they going to do? Because I'm protected. I'm good. I'm good. Like, I had the certainty. I'm good. Doesn't matter. Even if they're hiding in the closet, even if they're in this room waiting for me to come out, I'm fine. I just had this peace. I don't know why. I had this peace. And going back, I do remember when I was texting my family that I loved them, I remember these words specifically. Like, I was saying, Holy Spirit, I know you're here. I know you're here right now with me. I know you're here. And it's almost like I'm scared to death, but I feel like this unexplainable peace right now because I know you're here. And I know you're protecting me and my roommate right now. So they come in and I just like got this surge of like confidence and energy, and I ran out of that bathroom and I ran through the door of the room, and I found men in uniform. I found the SWAT right there. And the guy, he was the one on the phone with me. He was like, you're fine, you're good. And I just like, I hugged him. I was like, oh my gosh, like, you don't understand. I had no words. I just got on my knees. I just sat down, and I was, at that point, like, I was so calm. I wasn't crying. I wasn't freaking out. I just sat. They made me stay in the room with my roommate as they searched the house, but I just sat, and one of the police officers was asking me if I was okay and trying to get my attention, and I looked at him. I was like, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm okay. And he's like, it's unbelievable the state that you're in right now, because he's like, I've been through a couple of these, and he's like, I have a younger sister that went through something similar like this, and she was not handling it like this. And I told him, I think it's a state of shock, but I also think that it's God's peace. It's the Holy Spirit and his peace, because there is a peace that surpassed any kind of understanding or explanation at that moment. And I remember looking out the window, and there was SWAT. I have maybe like a half an acre behind my house, maybe a little less than that. And I saw helicopter lights. I saw SWAT. I saw in the backyard, there were SWAT inside the house searching. They were outside. I saw canines, and I saw police officers, like everything. And I looked at the cop and I said, these are bad guys, huh? Were they bad guys? And he said he didn't know anything about it. But anyway, and that whole process, I would say, from the moment that I saw that knob turn until the moment I came face to face with the SWAT, it was about maybe like 21, 22 minutes. Yeah, and so that's what happened that night. And I can honestly say the first 24 hours after that night were insane. I almost thought, oh God, like, is this what they mean when they say like PTSD? Like, this is extreme. Like, it almost felt like I was like hallucinating the next 48 hours. Like, I was going outside. I was trying to push myself to go back into like civilization and go out and go to the supermarket. I didn't want to like become a hermit. I didn't want to let that happen to me. But I realized it's just a normal, like, my body is just reacting normally. My nervous system was shot. I was obviously in fight or flight. That's how you say it, fight or flight. Understandably so. But after those 48 hours, I can honestly say I just held tight to that peace that I had minutes before the SWAT came in. And I remember praying And I remember saying, Holy Spirit, if you can continue to give me that peace that you gave me minutes before the SWAT came to rescue me, when you gave me that confidence and assurance that I was just adamant that I was fine. Nothing was going to happen to me. Even if they're in the room, even if their intentions were to harm me, I don't know, whatever they were going to do. I asked God, I was like, just give me that assurance and continue to give me that peace. It doesn't make sense. It might not be normal. It might not be something that I even understand after something like that. I mean, I just know that if I was able to feel at peace and having that confidence that I had, I knew that I was going to get through this quicker than I expected. That I wasn't going to have to endure months and months of PTSD. And I'm not saying I'm not an expert, I don't know, but I know sometimes it comes back later. I know sometimes your body processes it in even months, years. I don't know how that works, but I do know that I asked God, I said, I want to process this now. Like I want to face it head first. Like whatever it takes. I want to go through the worst of it right now, and I want to be done with it. And at this point, it's been maybe 3 weeks, maybe a little over 3 weeks. And I'm good. I mean, what is normalcy? I don't think there'll ever be normalcy, and that's not even my goal. I'm not trying to go back to a state of normalcy, because my life was just never gonna be the same. I see life so different after that night. Even the problem that I was facing that night before they tried to intrude, I was going through something, and I was like, wow, everything, every worry, every problem, every issue in my life shrunk. It was like a black speck on a white wall, like a little dot, like everything that I was worrying about, everything that I was like, that was troubling me, I was like, wow, God, like it means almost nothing. Like it, in comparison to having life, being able to wake up and being able to see the sun, being able to have another day. It changed my perspective of life forever. I have never been more grateful in my life, ever, for the stupidest things, for the smallest things. I woke up the next morning and I was like, I woke up early. I woke up the next morning. I maybe on a few hours of sleep, because I had a cop stay over that night in the kitchen, and I just went to bed, and he was here guarding the house for a while. But I woke up at I think it was 8 a.m. I took a shower, and I put on worship music, praise and worship music, and I was like, I was singing happy songs. I was dancing happy dances, like the strangest thing. And in the middle of it, I was like, wow, I don't even understand why I'm this happy. Obviously, when you're faced with life or death, or at least in your mind when you're faced with that, everything has so much meaning, but yet all of the things that troubled me, that were just weighing heavy on me, I just like, wow, it means nothing. It means nothing. And so with that being said, I don't want to continue to go on because this video is already so long, but God is amazing. And there's a few verses that I wrote down after that night that have been carrying me through, that make sense through this whole experience. The first one's John 14:27. The peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. And It's so true. It's so true that when you truly believe that, like, they're not just words on a paper to me. Like, I'm reading it. They're real. Like, they jump out of this page right now. Like, it's so real. Like, God can turn anything, death, trauma, near death, like loss, grief, whatever, he can turn anything into good. He can. And he's proven that to me this far. And so, with that being said, thank you for listening. This is a long video. I just hope that whatever season you're in life, whatever trauma, might have even been worse than what I've been through, but I just want you to know that it's true that God can give you a peace and joy in the middle of the worst pain, the worst situations. Like, he can give you that, and you'll find yourself in a state of joy and peace, and think to yourself, it doesn't make sense. And he's that good. And so anyway, thank you for listening, and I hope that this video inspires you to see the world a little different, a little brighter, and never give up. Anyway, peace, love. God bless.